Hey guys, welcome to my round 6 recap of the NRL. What an amazing round and the opening of Bankwest Stadium. Let's get into the round. The first game of the round was absolutely an amazing comeback. The Sharks were down 14-0 to the Panthers at home. I didn't see Penrith coming out and firing up so much for this game as much as they did. However, they weren't able to hold on to this, and I tipped the Sharks by 2. They did win this game by 4. Andrew Fafita and the forward pack really stood up through this match, and that's what made them come back from such a big scoreline and able to win this game. As for the Panthers, they're so unpredictable at the moment. The second game saw the Bulldogs take on the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs have been struggling as of lately, and with Greg Inglis's retirement, everyone expected a big win. I got this game right. I got the Rabbitohs by 8. I thought it would be a gritty match. There was no score in the second half, so the final score was 14-6. It was really boring in my opinion, the second half. The defence wasn't great. There was a lot of error counts. I just really didn't rate this game, but a nice little win for the Rabbitohs on Easter Monday, and the Bulldogs have a lot to learn from this loss. The next game was absolutely phenomenal. This was one of the best games of footballs I've watched in recent years. The refereeing was brilliant. The Storm at home up against the Roosters ended up going to Golden Point. Cooper Cronk, Latrell Mitchell, the Roosters are just on fire at the moment, stepping up. Their star players, even Daniel Tupou, these guys are the real absolute deal. They're gonna go back to back. The way they're playing, it will be crazy if they don't. They had a massive lead against the Storm. They got tired. They lost that lead. They never were losing the match though, and it was 20-all until the Golden Point field goal from Latrell Mitchell. Cameron Smith had a blinder of a game. I think he stepped up really good for the Storm. Matt O'Carr was a little bit quiet in my opinion, but I do expect the Storm to do big things this weekend as well as the Roosters. The next game saw the Warriors take on the Cowboys over in New Zealand. I did tip the Cowboys and they won 17-10. Very low scoring match. I expected a lot more points throughout both sides of these teams. As I've been saying, you can't always rely on one player. Michael Morgan though, give yourself a clap. He really stepped up in this match, and there's a lot to look forward to in the Cowboys. Their forward pack was fairly decent for the most part, and the fact they don't have Taumalolo. As for the Warriors, they're just so inconsistent this year. They're going to be hard to tip. They're obviously going to win some game, but I think it's going to be a long year for the Warriors, and good on the Cowboys on their second win of the season. The next game was certainly a cracking nail-biter. It was the Dragons up against Manly. Dragons won this game 12-10. I couldn't believe the scoreline. There was no points in the game. It was a really good defensive, fun, attacking game of football. Whether that was an escort at the end, I'm going to leave my opinion out of that. There is a lot to look forward to in this Manly side. They're going to be a tough side to beat, but the Dragons are starting to click together, especially Corey Norman. He's playing really good footy at the moment, and I can't wait to watch them play the Roosters in the Anzac Clash. Moving on to Sunday, you had the Titans at home up against the Knights. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans got up here, but I thought the Knights would get their shit together. They lost this game 38-14. Kalen Ponga had an average game. I picked him as a try scorer, so I was pretty happy with that. The Titans halves really stepped up. Tyrone Roberts, players like that. The Titans, when they play at home, I think they're going to be very hard to beat. It was an average game of football in my opinion. Wasn't too fancy, but a big win for the Titans in front of the home crowd after a few struggling games and the win against Penrith. So they're now back-to-back wins. Next up saw the Raiders in Canberra up against the Brisbane Broncos. The Broncos' record against the Raiders is it's crazy. I think it's like they've only lost 2 of their last 10 games against them, but the Raiders were just too good here. A 4-point win. The Broncos had a lot of potential though. You really saw them starting to come back in the end, and I think we'll see that against the Sharks. It's 26-22 for this match, but over in the nation's capital, the Raiders are just too good this year, having their best start since I think it was 1992. They're going to be a hard team to beat at home. They always have, but they're just playing really good at the moment. The Broncos are struggling, but I think they'll bounce back. And the final game of the round saw the Parramatta Eels at home at Bankwest Stadium. Check out the vlog up against West Tigers. The West Tigers, I was expecting to turn up for a big fight here. I was expecting a big 12-point win from the Eel. It was a 45-point win. It was 51-6. Being at this stadium was phenomenal. The food prices were amazing. The seats were amazing. It was comfortable. It was loud. It was everything this game should have been for an Easter Monday opening of a stadium. Parramatta Junior Paulo played so good. He and Mitchell Moses, I think, were the two that just led the team. Mitchell Moses in the sense of the try that set everything up, but Junior Paulo stepped up, as well as Gutho, Reid Marnie. Just this whole team this year is so different to what we saw last year, and I'm expecting massive things for them if they keep this up when they do play at home.